if your attitude is simple, it's something else than just being positive. Because being positive doesn't really change a whole lot of things sometimes. There's realistic stuff, and there's things that you have to do instead of just being positive. There's action steps that you have to do to be successful.
Yeah.
You were going to say something.
Well, I don't want to cut you off if you're still on a thought.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
So, because what I was gonna do is just to make this very like specific and direct. I was gonna say to you, so as the coach or someone who trains kids, trains NHL players, pros, whatever. Just basic question. Why do you think like a good attitude is important? So if you're a player, like why specifically should you have a good attitude? Because what I was getting to before was saying if you have never seen that having a good attitude it is important because you haven't got the benefit of that, then you wouldn't know. So as a kid, it's like, what do I have to have a good attitude for?
Yeah.
Like who cares?
But
right?
the thing is that what is a good attitude? That's the question. What is a good attitude?
Right.
So a good attitude to me is, it's not fake, but a good attitude is how you approach things. So, for example, and this is all learned stuff. Because I used this with the lady yesterday, I said, when we do a drill and you're up against someone that you know is going to beat you, this is attitude now. Your attitude is going to reflect whether, okay, so you're skating with the best player in the city. I know that I'm going to lose this battle. Right. So no, I'm probably going to lose this battle. How do I approach that? Attitude number one says I'm going to give it like the right attitude. It's going to say, this is good for me because I'm playing with someone probably better. If I work really, really hard, I might lose this battle, but if I continue to go against this guy, it's going to make me better. And maybe I might win in 5 tries or in 5 years or whatever. But going against the best guy all the time, that's a good attitude. And I'm going to work hard. And whether I win or lose, I'm not going to go freak out about it either way. I'm going to give it my best. What goes through, or the opposite attitude will be, oh, it's the best guy on the ice. I've got to go tie my skate now.
Yeah.
To avoid embarrassment, which you shouldn't be embarrassed, but this is a learned thing. To avoid losing, feeling bad about yourself, and what are the fears in life? Fears are, what do other people think, and fear of failure. That's what the major fear. What is everyone going to think about me? The answer to that, and I'm speaking to you as a kid here, like whoever's listening, the answer to that is actually no one really cares. No one really cares whether you win or lose because they're not paying attention to you. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And
That's actually really important though.
No, it's really important.
No one actually cares. You think you can get in your own head and think
Yeah.
that other people really care about you and like what's happening to you, but no one actually cares. It's like when people are insecure about going to the gym because they think everyone's watching them.
Right.
It's very rarely does that actually happen. Unless you're being obnoxiously flamboyant in the gym, then it's no one actually cares. Everyone's just focusing on what they're doing, and it's the same for the kids.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just wanted to.
No, that's fine. And then fear of failure, like you are going to fail. You are going to fail. So the fear of what other people think, people actually don't think about you. They really don't. And if they did, so what? And I know that's actually maybe not the best advice because it's still like if you're doing something and you think that someone's judging you or some kids will make fun of you. You lost again or something like that. But it's like, it's not important. The most important part of that is that you went into the battle or you went into something that was uncomfortable. You went into something where you maybe most likely were going to lose, but you tried anyways. That's a victory, not a loss. That's 100% victory, not a loss. And if you can do that over and over, you're building a crust on you that you've got some resilience. And having resilience will eventually help you win.
Yep.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
So what people think about you, whatever, and fear of failure is actually not a failure. It's a win.
Yep.
And it's an old thing, like a good boxer, right? It's not about how many times you hit somebody. It's about how many times you can get hit and keep moving forward. You might even get knocked down, but it's getting back up and keep pushing forward. That's why they make movies.
Mm-hmm.
That's why that's the story of victory. It's not the guy that gets up and wakes up in the morning and just succeeds at everything he does. There wouldn't be a good story. It's the guy, that's why we watch movies and read books and are interested in the guy that's and when we talk so awesome about a kid on the ice that improves so much.
The
and
underdog story, man. That's
it's
it.
so awesome. Yeah, the underdog story. It's so awesome. And that's why it's so important for you as a child or as a player to understand that you embrace your shortcomings and you work on them. That's what attitude is to me.
Yeah.
So being positive and saying, "Oh yeah," like, so we go back to that scenario, and you put that kid against someone. Well, if you ask him, "Okay, you're going to go against the best guy in on the ice today," if you did attitude like just verbally, you'd say, "Oh yeah, okay, no problem." But how do you really feel? Your actions will show.
Yeah.
So that's that. You're going to say something.
So yeah. So do you feel like that's a good definition for attitude for
yourself?
It
is, but it's also it's controlling your attitude, which is mental toughness and attitude, and it's all kind of one and the same. But you go ahead first.
Well, so because I just want to get to that question is like, so why is that actually important to have? So you touched on it a little bit there. Is like, so the one example you gave, if you're going against the best guy on the ice and you know that you're most likely going to lose, how you deal with that situation, and you pointed to the benefit of that is eventually you may not lose anymore because you keep trying, you keep getting better.
That's right.
And that's one benefit of having that.
Yeah.
But in a more general sense, there's short-term and long-term benefits to that. So that would be more of a long-term benefit where it's like over time, if that's your attitude towards situations where you might be at a disadvantage, you might end up not being at the disadvantage later. Whereas if you have a shitty attitude about it and don't try and take a break every time, then you're never going to get better, and then you're never catching that kid.
Never.
And that's more of a long-term thing that you can't see.
Yeah.
But in the short term, I got a couple things that I wrote down here. The first thing that I want to point out to all the kids and all the parents, because some of them might not think this, or they're fooling themselves and saying that it's not true. But like, there's parents and coaches, they don't like certain kids.
Yeah.
Right. Just like you don't like certain friends. If you're in a group on your team, there's kids you don't like.
Yes.
Or in your class, there's kids you don't like.
Yes.
And for the parents and coaches at work, there's people you don't like. And some parents don't like their kids. Some parents don't like other people's kids. Some teachers don't like some of their students. Some coaches don't like some of their players. And that's true. If you think that's not true, then you're just fooling yourself, because that's just what it is.
Yeah.
So if you're a kid that has a good attitude, whereas like you come in ready to work, ready to learn, you listen when people are talking to you, you have good body language, you're not goofing around when it's not time to goof around, which is different than saying you can never goof around, because you can goof around if it's appropriately placed. So what happens if you have those characteristics and those other things that you're talking about is that people want to help you.
Mm-hmm.
And this goes to what we were talking about at the start of the podcast, is you care as much as the kid cares. So if the kid comes in and he has a bad attitude, then even if the kid does care, it isn't apparent to the person who's teaching you. It comes across like you don't care. You're just here to goof around. That's how it comes across.
Yeah.
And as coaches, it's tough because you have to try to, or teachers or parents, you have to try to like sift through that to still teach them and give them chance after chance after chance, because that's what kids need, because they're going to keep making mistakes. But as the kid, if you can get rid of that, and you come to class or you come to the gym or you go on the ice and you have that type of attitude about you, then everyone that's around you, they want to pick you on their team, and whether you're the best player or not, they don't care, because it's irrelevant to us. We've said it before. I'll take a shitty kid that has a good attitude over the best kid that sucks in terms of attitude any day of the week. I want to work with a kid that wants to learn and wants to train, even if he can't shoot a puck. I'd rather work with that kid. So if you come in and have some of those characteristics, that means more people are going to like you, which is a good thing, not in the sense of you need to care what people think, but you're trying to get opportunities. And people give opportunities to people that are willing to do the work and that have a good attitude. Because they want them around. They want you in their group. But if you're a shithead kid that's always causing crap, then when you come into my gym, I'm not paying as much attention to you.
Not going to happen.
Because you're not showing me that you are deserving of that attention, or that you're going to do something with that attention, because every time I turn around, you're bullying some kid or talking shit or
not listening to you,
not listening, or not doing what I said correctly or whatever. And we pick up on all that stuff.
Well, having said that, I'm going to cut you off. Amazes me every single time, because it's every single session on the ice. And I'm talking pros and everything. When you go to the board or you say something or you're drawing out the drill or whatever, and then you got someone that there's already been 6 guys or 8 guys that have done the first set of drills, and then the same guy messes up the drill. He's a drill buster. because you just didn't take the time to listen to the drill.
Yeah.
And 6 or 7 guys go, so what were you doing?
Right.
And why are you even going?
Right.
So what? And to your point, is you sit there and you go, I just wasted my time with you. So there's one check mark. Then it happens again. Then it happens again. It's like, you know what? You don't even want to speak to the guy.
Right.
Because why would you? He's not listening.
Yeah. And with all these behaviors, what you're doing is you're either building or breaking down your social credit among your peers.
Yeah.
And it's really important that you can do that. You're always stocking up with what people think of you.
Yeah.
In the sense of, if it's gym class and we have to pick teams, I want to pick him first.
Yeah.
Because he's a good teammate. He's actually a pretty good player or a pretty good athlete or whatever. And now those guys, your friends want to give you opportunities, or your teammate wants to pass you the puck or whatever, because now you're a guy that I like.
Yeah.
And the same thing with the coaching.
Yeah.
If you're a guy that's constantly drill busting, it's like, this kid is just driving me crazy.
Yeah.
Like, this kid's annoying. I don't want him on the ice anymore. I'm about to tell his mom not to bring him anymore.
Yeah.
That's what it starts to come down to if you do that over and over and over and over again.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
And for even the best kids, obviously there's pluses and minuses. Like, you're going to do some things that annoy me. You're going to do some things that don't.
Yeah.
Same to you, same to your parents, same whatever. But you want the net result to be you're in the positive.
Yeah.
Because now people give a shit about you.
Yeah.
Because you're showing that you give a shit about what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's why that year older group with the 07s, those kids fire me up, man. Like, I love being around those kids. I want them in the gym. I've talked to all their parents about bringing them in more, because there's 3 in particular.
I know.
And there's more, but there's 3 in particular that I'm like, these kids are dialed in, man. Like, they work hard.
Cream of the crop
good
kids that
attitude.
we've ever had.
Yeah. Polite, like, treat people well in their group. They're never a problem ever. They do things properly, and they're good athletes on top of that. Yeah. It's like, that's my bread and butter, man. That's what I want here all the time. Those are the kinds of kids that you love to train, because those are the kids that have the potential to succeed, because they're going to take the help and actually do something with it.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's my answer to that question. Like, why you think it's important is because if you don't have that, then you miss all that.